Hey yo YouTube, Origami here, welcome back to the channel, and today we're back with the first deck profile of the DMPP-15 era in Duel Masters PLAY'S. And today's deck is one that currently sits at the top of the meta, but know that we're just 1 week into the new set, so tiers aren't really so meaningful at the moment, and we're talking about the Necra Hyperspatial Deck. Now what does Necra mean? I have no idea. Now since the start of the Hyperspatial era, the decks have had names to differentiate them because otherwise they'd be all called Hyperspatial decks. Like the first Hyperspatial deck we did was actually called Deigaōruiesu, but there's actually another variant called Rakka, and they're both Hyperspatial Beatdown decks. So usually I try to translate, into English if it references some name or if it's in kanji, because they share, words with Mandarin Chinese. But the recent deck names are a bit harder to decipher for me. So if you speak Japanese or understand the context of these names, do let me know down in the comment section below. What are these names referencing? Is it an abbreviation of the playstyles or name of some cards? Anyway, it's the Necra Hyperspatial deck. It's sort of a ramp control deck, and I hesitate to say ramp control because it doesn't really make sense if you say it like that. It uses nature for some early ramp, not as much as a full-on ramp deck, but its win con is sort of more like a control deck where you build on your board, wait out the long game, and like a python, slowly strangling your opponent to victory. It'll make more sense when we look at the deck list, and we can discuss the deck and the meta a bit after that. So first up, we play 4 Faerie Life and 3 Pixie Cocoons, as well as 2 Purification Traps. And we play these 9 cards for ramp. Only 2 creatures in this deck, Prince Avaraldo as well as Valkyries, but they are important cards you want access to via Pixie Cocoon. Purification Trap is always good as a splash to counter graveyard-centric decks like Romanov previously, but also the new Mad Rochester Romanov decks from the latest set. Next up, we play 4 of the Prince Avaraldo Cavalier of Thunder. We've seen this card a lot in the Psychic Creature era. Superb value for spell heavy decks, and there are 34 spells in this main deck, so this is an auto include for us. Next up, 4 Jenny Darts. Early game discard that remains useful all the way until the late game, and it has some synergy with Black Gunvit, which is a psychic creature we'll talk about later. We've done Purification Trap, and now we play 4 Leaf Storm Trap, and this is the first time we're seeing this card. Shield trigger, put one of your creatures into the mana zone, then put one of your opponent's creature into their mana zone. It doesn't seem like a great effect, but when you use it on your terms, it's generally great value. Firstly, if you don't have any creatures, it's just a straight Natural Snare. Next, if you target your opponent's psychic creature, it goes into their hyperspatial zone, so they don't get free ramp. If you do want to ramp, you can choose a body like Prince Avaraldo, which has already served its purpose. And lastly, there is some sort of synergy with Galaxy Temporal Immortal, which is a new psychic creature we're talking about, and we'll see that later. So it's a seemingly average card, but it's actually pretty good when you use it properly, especially considering its mana cost. Now, as you can see, we mainly have light and dark psychic creatures, so we play a package of 4 Hyperspatial Dravita Ho, 4 Hyperspatial Emperor Ho, as well as 4 Hyperspatial Guard Ho. Now, we've seen a lot of Dravita and Emperor Ho, so I'll talk about the newest and arguably most important card of the DMPP-15 set, Hyperspatial Guard Ho. The effect is you may shieldify a non-evolution creature, i.e. put one of your opponent's non-evolution creature into their shields, then put a light or darkness command psychic creature that costs 10 or less from your hyperspatial zone into your battle zone. Now this card gets you everything in your psychic zone except for Storm Genji Double Cross. Most notably, is the only card in the deck that gets you Diablo Zeta Temporal Ruler. This is pretty much the gold standard for hyperspatial spells, the one that we've probably been waiting the most for, and almost absolute removal, and Shieldify is also arguably the best form of removal. Access to everything you may need from your hyperspatial zone as well. We'll discuss the psychic and strategy later together, but you'll definitely be seeing more of guard holes in future decks, and especially decks that allow for light and dark mana. We have 2 Terrapit as well as 4 Natural Snare. Standard shield trigger removal. We play more Natural Snare because we need more nature cards to balance the mana, and that's about it. And the last card of the main deck, we play 2 Balcadias Overlord of Demons. Evolution on either a Demon Command or Angel Command. When this enters the battle zone, destroy all other creatures. This includes your own creatures as well. The second effect is your opponent can't cast spells, Triple Breaker. Now this is a non-discriminatory board clear with Spell Delphine's effect, super powerful in the Psychic era. You do have to note that we don't play any main deck commands, so your evolution targets are actually all Psychic creatures, which is interesting. Ironically, the reason we play Balcadias at all is to check your opponent's Balcadias. We have no cards in this 34 spell main deck that can kill a Balcadias on your opponent's board other than this, so we do have to play this to cope with that. And that's it for the main deck. Into the Hyperspatial zone, we see some familiar faces that have been pretty standard, so I'll only talk about the new cards that we're seeing. We have one Chaval, Temporal Demonic Elemental. We have one Dravita, Temporal Pressure Elemental. And this is the first of the new cards, one Galaxy Temporal Immortal. And the effect is, when this creature would leave the battle zone, flip this creature to King Galaxy Destruction Awaken instead. So instead of an awakened creature having release, removing this creature actually awakens it. So the awakened effect is it has Double Breaker, and also each of your other creatures gets Blocker. Seems like an underwhelming effect, right? But this card is actually very important for its unawakened effect. It's awakened upon removal, which means it actually survives one removal as an Angel Command. This is the main Balcadias evolution source that survives your opponent's Balcadias. It also works with Leaf Storm Trap as well, like I mentioned, but it is important to have this card on the field unawakened to counter Balcadias. Otherwise, this deck gets shut down right away. Next up, another new card. We play one of Black Gunvit Temporal Wicked Soldier. Now when this creature enters the battle zone, destroy one of your opponent's tapped creatures, and also at the end of your opponent's turn, if your opponent has no cards in their hand, flip this creature into Darkness Gunvit, which is its awaken effect. So it's a tapped creature removal with a threat to awaken on your opponent's empty hand. Now its awaken effect is when this creature attacks, your opponent discards a card from their hand and destroys one of their creatures. Double Breaker, so Value Town, but it does have no release. It's usually used as removal for its unawakened effect when it enters the battlefield, potentially even double removal together with Emperor Hold. Next up, we have one Diaz Zeta. We've seen this before, very good standard card, solid on attack effect from its unawakened form. And next up, we play 2 of this, Diablo Zeta Temporal Ruler. So this is the card that comes with Guard Hold, and this is a very important card. Very good card in fact. Blocker, can't attack. When your opponent would choose a creature due to the ability of one of their creatures, they can't choose this one. Its awakened condition is at the start of your turn, you may shuffle 3 of your cards in the battle zone or your mana zone into your deck. If you do, flip this creature into Devil Diablo Zeta Evil Awaken. So it has a very good effect considering it's a blocker and it can't be targeted by creature abilities, and a very easy awaken condition on your next turn. And its awakened effect is Quattro Breaker. Whenever this attacks, destroy one of your opponent's light, water, darkness, fire, and nature creatures. If you don't understand what this means, this is not destroy one of your opponent's multi-civ creature. It means you can destroy up to 5 of your opponent's creatures, 1 creature from each civilization. And it also has release, which is a very important effect to have. A very good card with a very good effect in its own right, with release as well, but also it serves as a very good base for the next card we are going to talk about, which is why we played 2 of this creature. And the last card of the deck, we play one of the Storm Genji Double Cross, the Super Temporal. And it has quite a long effect. The first effect, Super Infinite Evolution. Whenever one of your psychic creatures enter the battle zone or awakens, you may put this creature from your hyperspatial zone into the battle zone, evolving it from psychic creatures or creatures that have double cross in their name that have a total cost of 20 or more. So that's quite an expensive evolution. Quattro Breaker, Meteor Burn Awaken, which means at the start of your turn, put all of your cards under this creature into your graveyard, then flip this creature to Last Storm, double cross the Super Awaken. So essentially, when you put a psychic creature into the battle zone or awaken one, you can evolve this creature from your hyperspatial zone onto 20 mana worth of psychic creatures. The Awakened Devil Diablo Zeta we mentioned earlier is also a good single card option to evolve this card from. Now, the Awakened effect. World Breaker. Whenever this attacks, put any number of your psychic creatures that cost 10 or less from your hyperspatial zone into the battle zone. Your opponent can't choose this creature. Yes, it is as crazy as it sounds. When you awaken this creature and attack, you can summon your entire hyperspatial zone. Not one of them, all of them. However, because of the battle zone limit in Duel Masters plays, you do have to pay attention to the order which you choose to summon them, because those that exceed the limit won't be summoned. I mean, honestly, what else is there to say? This is like the hyperspatial equivalent of Violence Fusion. I guess Balcadias is still a potential threat if you don't win the game after this, but really? The only thing to note about this is that the unawakened form doesn't have any protection or release. So it's always tempting to go into it whenever possible, but you should consider if, for example, leaving your Devil Diablo Zeta with release on board is actually better than having a vulnerable Storm Genji double cross, because you're putting essentially 20 mana worth of psychic creatures at risk. And yeah, that's it. That's the supposedly top tier deck of the meta right now, though I will say I'm not fully convinced. I think it's not fully refined yet. It feels like a tier 1.5 to tier 2 deck to me, and I don't fully know how to explain it, but I've played in several metas and this just doesn't feel like a tier 1 deck, at least not in the form that it's currently in. I'd be very surprised if by the end of this ND meta that this list hasn't been bumped down or have significant improvements made to it in its early game package especially. It's also super expensive. The hyperspatial holes are already 12 SRs, plus the new psychic creatures you have to add to your deck. It's pretty manageable for people who have been keeping up with their hyperspatial packages. You can probably make up at least some of the difference using your DMPs to craft the cards. But if you don't have most of the cards from before, like Dravita Hole and Emperor Hole, it becomes a ridiculously expensive deck. But unfortunately, this is the meta now. With most hyperspatial holes being SRs, most decks you see now will be pretty expensive. Although I believe and hope that Guard Hole and maybe Balcadias will hold their place in the meta for a while, so they might be good investments in the long run. And yeah, with that we're done. And stay tuned for the gameplay as usual. Hope you guys enjoyed the first deck profile of the DMPP-15 era, and like I said, if you know what Necra as well as the other hyperspatial deck names mean, do let me know down in the comment section below. If you like this video, do help me drop a like on it to let me know, and I'll keep making more videos like this one. If you're new here, consider subscribing to the channel to stay up to date with more Duel Masters plays as well as more mobile gaming content. Forget about the notification bell, just subscribing would mean a lot to me. Alright, stay tuned for the gameplay, stay safe, bye bye.
Turn out the light for no reason. Something you never needed. What was it all for? I don't know. We go back, we go back, we go back, we colliding. Losing track, even God knows I'm trying. Dangerous, selfish way. What do you say? But you lied to me. Now I keep thinking, was I wasting my time letting you into my life? You brought out the best in me. We had everything we needed. You put me aside and turned out the lights for no reason. Was it a make believe? Something you never needed. maybe too bad I heard advice. Cause out of sight and out of mind is perfect. It's so hard to decide. I know he got me good in his pocket. I know that I missed a treat. Well, the taste is better. Oh, go on, chewing my bones out when he's done is spitting me out. I just can't help myself. One for the pain, no hesitation. Took us we can, nothing can save us. Yeah, I just wanna be around you. I just wanna be free for the night, all in or nothing. Not gonna stop, dance till the morning light. I just wanna be around you. I just wanna be around you. He looks at me like I know what he's thinking, but I don't have a clue. True talent in avoiding conversation, yeah, it's almost radical. I know he got me good in his pocket. I know that I missed a treat, but the taste is better. Oh, go on, chewing my bones out when he's done is spitting me out. I just can't help myself. One for the pain, no hesitation. Took us we can, nothing can save us. Yeah, I just wanna be around you. I just wanna be free for the night, all in or nothing. Not gonna stop, dance till the morning light. I just wanna be around you. I just wanna be around you. Share my lipstick, taste my breath. Love me like you love a pack of smokes in the morning. Share my lipstick, taste my breath, and love me like you love a pack of smokes in the morning. One for the pain, no hesitation. Took us we can, nothing can save us. Yeah, I just wanna be around you. I just wanna be free for the night, all in or nothing. Not gonna stop, dance till the morning light. I just wanna be around you. I just wanna be around you. I just wanna be around you.
Alright, let's take a look at our weather forecast today.
Clouds. It's the perfect day to go outside and relax. That's your forecast. Right back.
Yeah, sunny days, sunny days, sunny days. No clouds in the sky, but again, away feels like it's been a freaking decade. Sorry, don't call me 'cause I'm gonna be on break. Sunny day, all the stress and doubt, yeah, not today. Feels like it's been a freaking decade. Sorry, don't call me 'cause I'm gonna be on break. Got the tropical, the fresh cut sushi on a platter, brandy, honey, it don't matter shots. Till I drop, gonna be 24/7, golden hour like a boss. And they say, yo, Chris, you got a 2 o'clock appointment for a champagne shot, boy, yeah. I'm busy trying to take it higher, got no time for never, only spending cheddar. Wish I could do this forever. Chilling with the hottest company, they all wanna welcome me to their private penthouse suite. Yeah, now I got the key. Rooftop pool, got a heli on speed. Ocean view from the highest peak. I'm complete. Oh, I want this to stay. This song, oh yeah. Sunny days, sunny days, sunny days. No clouds in the sky, but again, when feels like it's been a freaking decade. positivity to this party. Don't want no drama with any bad karma. Got a lot of that elevator low, I just wanna let it all go. Yeah, I can't say no when I'm this free. Don't wanna go home, oh I can't sleep. Weather's so nice, only got good vibes. Yeah, we here chillin' in paradise. Sunny days, sunny days, sunny days. No clouds in the sky, about to get away. Feels like it's been a freaking decade. Sorry, don't call me cause I'm gonna be on break. Sunny day, big rain. All the stress and doubt, yeah, not today. Feels like it's been a freaking decade. Sorry, don't call me cause I'm gonna be on break. Sunny days, sunny days, sunny days. No clouds in the sky, about to get away. Feels like it's been a freaking decade. Sorry, don't call me cause I'm gonna be on break. Sunny day, big rain. All the stress and doubt, yeah, not today. Feels like it's been a freaking decade. Sorry, don't call me cause I'm gonna be on break.
I don't wanna lie, cause I know you hate it. But right now I'm stuck in the middle. I stumble while I try, cause you don't wanna give in. Sounds like we're just talking and really no. 5 in the morning, all we do is fight. Can't you come and make it right? I need a pause from the battle, but I don't think you settle. You don't wanna get it right. I will leave it up to you. I will leave it up to you. Now I'm done it down the line. I will leave it up to you. I know you think about it every time I'm out, and sometimes so we're texting back. But baby, don't you know I will come around and let you know I'm always coming back. 5 in the morning, all we do is fight, and thought you'd come and make it right. I need a pause from the battle, but I don't think you settle. You don't wanna get it right. I will leave it up to you. I will leave it up to you. Now I'm done it down the line. I will leave it up to you. Cause I know you hate it, but how am I supposed to say you like I mean it when you criticize like everything I say? I wish you knew that I'm trying every day. I will leave this up to you. I will leave this up to you. Cause now I'm done and down the line. So I will leave it up to you. There's a party Let me know when you're here. Meet me up for a smoke outside. Have a good Can't believe it. Guess I'll take it back. There's a party downtown. Someone said that you're coming by. Just hope that we're still okay. You always pick me up and let me down. We're spinning around, losing our minds. And if we do, then it's a what we 'Cause you always pick me up and let me down. We're spinning around, losing our minds. Damned if we do, damned if we don't, damned if we give in what we want. And I always pick you up and let you down. We're spinning around, losing our minds. Damned if we do, damned if we don't, damned if we give in what we want, to what we want, to what we There's money down to you always pick me up and let me down. We're spinning around, losing our minds. Damned if we do, damned if we don't, damned if we give in what we want. I always pick you up and let you down. We're spinning around, losing our minds. Damned if we do, damned if we don't, damned if we give in what we want, to what we want.
Thinking about the way we just fine. Thinking about the way we 잠시 멈춰서 너와 내 편한 눈만 흘러 이제 여기까지 Feels better that we're on separate ways Our memories fading Sometimes I think it's you 너 없이 뭔가 좀 공허해 날이 무뎌지는 그 감각에 어느새 집중돼 Lost but found out to be found Thinking about the way we just why Thinking about the way 난 광진대교 건너면서 든 생각 없어 맘에 드는 사람 넌 나만이 컸어 그냥 뒀어 외로운 유황을 불 붙여 지발과 탄을 붉고 서서 이때간에 다리미 주저앉아 순식간에 지나가 시간 기미 없어 후회할 순 없어 어지러워 외정 여러 마음들 흩어져 난 돌아가면서 기억이 하나 그냥 없어져 그래도 남아있을걸 너가 말들 난 안 잊을래 Pretend I'm fine alone but then that would just make me feel like I don't know Thinking about the way
We drove to New Jersey. Your eyes said I'd be worried. You said it was nothing, but I know you get bullied. The sorrow of us, the sorrow of us. How did we end up here? We used to laugh so hard. When did we stop loving? When did it all go too far? We don't listen when we talk. We fight fire with fire. It's like we don't know how to talk without the flames getting higher. You hear when I hear, yeah, nothing else in between. Yeah, try to connect without making a scene, but we don't listen. We don't listen when we talk. We don't listen. We don't listen when we talk. I know you have your reasons to yell at me tonight, baby. Can we see this as a lesson? Then maybe we should open up the sorrow of us, the sorrow of us. How did we end up here? We used to laugh so hard. When did we stop loving, babe? When did it all go too far? We don't listen when we talk. We fight fire with fire. It's like we don't know how to talk without the flames getting higher. You hear when I hear, yeah, nothing else in between. Yeah, try to connect without making a scene, but we don't listen. We don't listen when we talk. Don't ask me to leave, 'cause I wanna stay. Don't ask me to leave, 'cause I wanna stay. We don't listen when we talk. We fight fire with fire. It's like we don't know how to talk without the flames getting higher. You hear when I hear, yeah, nothing else in between. Yeah, try to connect without making a scene, but we don't listen. We don't listen when we talk. We don't listen. We don't listen when we talk.
Gotta get from you, you like it tired. Kenny is a mohe 걱정. I got no worries, no. I got no worries, no. I got no worries, no. I'm shining like a diamond, shining like a diamond. Yeah. Got different view, 여유롭게 teasing. 내 자유로운 soul, leave me be, please. 문제가 돈이라면 I'll be filthy rich, but 걱정 따윈 없이 나를 risk. 헤매려 따위는 너 언제나 보이는 건 no, no. 속도로 내야 돼, 배로 틀어